Today on the Healthy Living Podcast, we're going to take a look at a very unique subject, and it's basically how our emotions have a relationship with our eating habits. I think it's something every one of us have to deal with, so today we're going to dive into that very subject. I'm your host, Pastor Paul Andrus. Let's talk about healthy living. Hey, look, you need healthcare, I need healthcare. We all need healthcare, right? But we need some healthcare that's not going to break the bank, dig a hole in our pocket. We need something different than insurance, something more. Listen, our friends over at Medi-Share, they've designed healthcare with you in mind. Medi-Share, it is healthcare, but it's just done better because you deserve affordable, quality healthcare that aligns with your Christian values. So head on over to Medi-Share.com and find out what our friends can do for you. Okay, let's dive into this. Subjects like this, we always love to get a little subject matter expert going, and we reached out to our friends at Medi-Share, actually, our healthcare sharing partner, and they had their registered dietitian, Megan Moore, give us some good content. By the way, Megan is a registered dietitian and nutritionalist. She's also a certified diabetes educator. She provided us with some great information. So let me share some of this stuff with you, and let's start with this right now. Look, being frustrated, stressed, frankly, just not wanting to deal with regular problems, what do you find yourself doing, right? Next thing you know, you grab that bag of chips, maybe you open that refrigerator and pull out that little plate of cake, whatever that looks like, and you start munching away. Well, I think you're kind of hoping, as we all are, that somehow that's going to make you feel better about the situation. About 20 minutes later, you kind of find out that the bag of chips is empty, cake is gone, whatever it is, and you're kind of sitting there going, wow, that didn't work. I don't feel any better. And now I kind of feel guilty about eating a whole bag of chips or eating that entire half a cake or whatever it is that we just ate, right? Nothing's been resolved, and we haven't gained any ground. As a matter of fact, we've made things a little worse for ourselves. And listen, it's likely we've all been there at one point or another. We know what we should do, and what happens is we do exactly the opposite because there's something that's ruling that decision, our emotions. It's generally the way it works. So to figure out what this looks like and how we can prevent this from being a problem, let's first start off with coming to the real recognition of, well, what is physical hunger? Why do we eat? What does that look like? Look, it's no secret that God created us, and when He created us with the need for constant fuel in our bodies. We have to eat each and every day. And so God worked that out for us. If you go to Genesis 1, you find out the way He designed the garden was specifically for that very thing. It included all the foods that contained good nutrition that we need to promote good health. God even cared so much that He gave us taste buds so we can actually enjoy it. It's a desirable thing that we eat these tasty foods with these nutritional values that keep our body in good shape as God created it. So God put the system in place. The sad part of this is we eat so much food for so many of the wrong reasons, right? We're not even eating it for fuel. Sometimes we find ourselves eating not because we're physically hungry, but rather the way we feel. Maybe we feel sad, lonely, anxious, angry, scared, maybe even happy. Maybe we feel like things are out of the control or we're completely exhausted. There could be a amount of emotional reasons why we might turn to food. This basically happens to everyone occasionally, but when it happens regularly or too often, it can really become a problem in our health. It creates a negative effect. So the desire to commit to eat better is the first step towards living a healthier lifestyle. But not really knowing why we eat can create obstacles. It's how we achieve that, right? Not only our healthy journey, but also our spiritual journey. So, the simplest rule to be aware of why you're eating is this. If it's not hunger, then commit to getting to the bottom of the feelings. If you're eating because you're not hungry, there's something else going on. Food is for fuel and nutrition. That's brass tacks. It's not really designed for anything else. Now, we put it together for a lot of other reasons because we like sweet stuff and things like that. But the reality is food has a specific purpose in our daily lives. It's not for quenching our emotional longings or dealing with our spiritual needs. What we find ourselves doing is we find ourselves with an emotional hunger, right? Let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like you're eating for comfort? What about scanning the pantry or the refrigerator because you're bored? I actually hate to admit this, but I am totally guilty of doing this. I get bored and I find myself opening that refrigerator door too many times. Praise God, I close it more than I eat something, but I still probably eat more than I should. We can get into those places real easy. Or maybe we're just eating pizza and cake because everybody else at the party is eating pizza and cake, right? So we have to actually stop and think about our eating patterns. Now, considering your eating patterns for the last few days, think about that, right? Can you remember any situation when you turn to food because maybe you're desiring reward, joy, comfort? Maybe you're looking for control. Maybe it's a distraction you're looking for. Maybe you're lacking peace. You're looking for love or care, and you're just not getting that. Maybe you lack a sense of belonging, and food is comforting you. Well, when we habitually turn to food to fulfill these needs, well, we tend to neglect going to the very one that will fulfill those needs anyway, and that is God, right? Strong emotions demand a response, and they trigger a need. Then that need can lead us, well, to seek God's face, which is the great place to go, or regrettably, it can cause us to seek something that's a lot less fulfilling and something that's completely temporary, a substitute like food or something else for that matter. Listen, is it possible that God created our emotions for the very purpose of drawing us closer to Him and to seek Him, to relate to Him and to worship Him? What if we get in the habit of first thinking about our physical hunger level and our emotional state, pray about our needs and choices, and then eat if we need food for fuel and nutrition, right? Unfortunately, we have a tendency to do something very different. If we determine that it's not for food that we need, but that it's an emotional fulfillment that we're trying to crave, then we ought to seek God for how best to meet that specific need. After all, here's what God is. God is love. God gives us joy, peace. He is our comforter, our caretaker. He is our everlasting reward. So look, eating out of habit or in response to an emotion rather than true physical hunger, it can totally derail our best intentions when it comes to how we manage our weight and our physical well-being. What we need to look at is how do we break the cycle if we are in that ugly cycle, because emotional eating can become a habit, and we have to move away from that bad habit and towards more healthy choices. Emotions are honestly a constant point of our lives, and we're never going to get around that reality. But unlike defining life moments, daily things like stress, anger, worry, depression, tiredness, lack of sleep, and sometimes even happiness, it can cause us to create a response to eating in place of dealing with negative emotions or even enjoying the positive emotions. Let's face it. Most people typically don't crave salad and broccoli when they're having a stressful situation, right? More commonly, we're going to crave the stuff we shouldn't be craving. You know, the cookie, the candies, the chocolate, the cake. Cravings are so often a response to our high emotional situations. If something can provide instant gratification, right, it can boost our mood or our energy level really quick, then it kind of meets an immediate need, even though it's completely temporary. This is commonly referred to as emotional eating. The cycle of emotional eating is sometimes that we have, an experience. We all have it. It is as very common in society as food is offered to us for practically every emotion, every event, every social gathering. Man, if you are in a church, churches love to eat. It's not a bad thing. We just got to look out for what we're eating and how much of it we're taking in. The good news is you can intercept this cycle and make strides towards much better choices by identifying the triggers, right? Those ones, and implementing practices and strategies that change how we deal with those triggers. Here's a few ideas, right? You can start with this. Let's look at the word pray and turn it into an acronym, P-R-A-Y, right? Here's a way of looking at it. Before you do anything, pray. Take the moment and pray before taking any action, before opening the pantry door or the refrigerator door. Then R, rate your physical hunger level. Scale it between 1 and 5. Are you really hungry? Is this about hunger or is this about an emotional response? Well, A, ask yourself, what emotions are you feeling? And work on getting to those emotions so you can fulfill those emotional needs through the proper channels. And then you decide, how are you going to proceed on a rational thought with this intention and self-control? I think it's a good way to go. Here are a few other strategies you can step into, right? Set us up for success. Maybe you put a sticky note on the refrigerator or the pantry or the refrigerator that reminds you before you open it, maybe stop and pray first, right? Try eating on a regular schedule. Don't allow yourself to become ravenous because you haven't eaten all day, right? Journal about your feelings. Write down your thoughts, emotions, and true needs so that way you've got an outlet for them. Maybe set a timer for 10 minutes and pray and wait so you can make a rational plan of whether or not you need to be eating or not eating. Cherish and cultivate positive relationships in your life because it really gives you peace. Make sure you're scheduling quiet time on a regular basis to spend time in the Word and remind yourself of who God is and that His promises are good for us. Maybe get adequate sleep. Not maybe. I'm just going to say this clearly. Get some adequate sleep. Sleep really, really does help our metabolism and who we are and how we relate to things. Eat well-balanced, nutrient-rich diet. Rich foods. Have a good diet because it'll help us manage the cravings. Seek counsel from trusted friends, pastors, or even if you need health coaches when you need support. Take action on what's going on with your health and your weight. So I say choose a few of the suggestions and implement them this week. Make the preparations necessary right now to set yourself up for success. Next time an emotional eating episode begins, then you're going to recognize it for what it is, and you can use a pray acronym or some other method to defeat it right on the spot. Listen, God's word teaches us that we're weak, but He is strong, right? He loves us in our shortcomings, and He strengthens us with His power in our time of need. Isaiah 40:29 says this, He gives us strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. With God's help, we can break this chain of emotional eating, and we can certainly overcome and find success. Listen, that's our episode for today. I want to thank you for joining the Healthy Living Podcast. This is where we talk about living healthy spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially. God bless you. Have a great day. You are unique, a God-designed creation. Why not have healthcare made uniquely for you? Healthcare that gives you more than just help with your medical needs. That's there to support you through every stage of your life. From making your first decision for your health, the birth of your newborn baby, and that hard diagnosis, all the way through your retirement years. Medi-Share is healthcare made with you in mind. Medi-Share is healthcare made for you.